So we have to do our rational root test. We got to find our p's and q's. How do we find p's? Factors of the constant. And q's are factors of our leading coefficient. So in this first one, we have as 15x cubed plus 14x squared minus 3x minus 2. And I need to find my p's and q's. I need to find my possible rational zeros. How many are there actually going to be? 3, okay, because it's a cubic. All right, but we're going to find our p's and q's, so we're going to figure out our possibles. So what would my p's be? Plus or minus 1 and 2. All right, and my q's would be plus or minus, how do I get to 15? 1 and 3 and 5 and 15. All right, so from there, we start dividing. All right, we start dividing everything by 1. So my p's over my q's would be plus or minus 1, and then 2. And now I start dividing by 3. So then I'd end up with 1/3 and 2/3, and then I do 1/5, 2/5, and also 1/15 and 2/15. All right. How many possible rational zeros did we come up with? We actually did 16. Why is it 16 and not 8? Plus or minus. All right. All right. Let's keep rational zeros of 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 8x plus 3. So we need to find our p's and our q's. So what would be my p's? 1 and 3, right? And then what are my q's? 1 and 2. How many options did I come up with? How many? 8. Good. All right, we actually came up with 8 options there. All right, so let's start putting it in our little synthetic form. So now we have a 2, and then a 3, and then a -8, and then a 3. What do we want our remainder to be? 0. That's what we want. All right, what do we want to try? 1. All right. So let's test 1. So we drop 2 and we get 2, and then we get 2, and then we get 5, and then 5, and then 0. Now, did anybody remember the trick? Do what? Okay, we're going to factor the quadratic. True that. However, how did we know 1 was actually going to work? We actually knew this one. Why did we know 1 was going to work? No. They equal 0. Very good. These coefficients will add up to 0. And when they do that, 1 is going to be a 0. So if you have 2, 3, -8, and 3, those all add up to 0. If they didn't add up to 0, would 1 work? No, it wouldn't have. All right. So there's kind of a trick if you want to go that route. Now, I always stop there because we're going to stop at a quadratic. So now we end up having x minus 1. And then this part is 2x squared and then plus 5x and minus 3. So what do we like to do to quadratics? We F them up. That's right. All right, so go ahead and factor that. So 2x minus 1 and x plus 3. All right. So now this gives us a 0 of what? 1 comma 0. This gives us a 0 of 1/2 comma 0. And then this gives us a 0 of -3 comma 0. You see how all of these are actually part of our p's and q's? All right. So did we actually have to go that way to Tampa? We didn't, okay? We could have used -3 right there first, and it would have given us a quadratic that we then could have factored and gone from there. Are you following me? All right. So on this one, we're going to find all the real solutions. We're going to find all the real solutions of -10x cubed plus 15x squared plus 16x minus 12 is equal to 0. So again, how do we start all of these out? We find our p's and our q's. So what would be my p's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. Very good. All right. All over. My q's are my factors of -10. So what would my q's be? 1, 2, 5, and 10. Very good. All right. So, do I have a lot of options here? A lot. Okay, so hopefully we're good at guessing. All right. Actually, the more you practice these, the more you'll see the numbers start to come. All right. So, I have -10, and I have 15, and I have 16, and I have -12. Again, what do we want our remainder to be? 0. Is 1 going to work? No. 1 is not going to work. Tell me why. Because it's not going to add up to 0. So I'm not even going to test 1. I don't need to. All right. What do you want to test? Let's try -1. Let's try it. So I get -10, and then I get 10, and then I get, and then I get, and then I get, and I get. Is it going to work? All right. So -1 didn't work. That's okay. All right. So again, make sure you have like a little bank of somewhere that you've actually tested that. All right. I'd hate for you to actually do it again. All right. What do you want to try now? All right. You want to try -2? So then I get -10, and then I get just +20 actually. And then I get 35. I get 35. Now, can I stop there? Yeah. All right. -2 is not going to work out for us. All right. Now, what do you want to try? You want to try 3? All right. Let's try 3. So then I get -30. Then I get -15. Then I get -45. All right, can I stop? All right. All right, what do we want to try? 2. We're actually going to go, okay. All right. That's right, it does work. All right, so then we get -20, then we get -5, then we get -10, and then we get 6, and then we get 12, and then we get, hey, look at that. All right, so now we end up having the factors of x minus 2, and then what does this give us? This gives us a quadratic of -10x squared minus 5x, and then plus 6. And again, what do we like to do to quadratics first? We try to do what to them? F it up, something like that. All right, we try to factor. However, is this going to factor? No, so we're done, right? We're done, right? No, well, how else can you solve a quadratic? Quadratic formula, all right? So let's put it in the quadratic formula. So x equals opposite b, so what's that? 5 plus or minus square root of b squared, which is 25 minus 4 times my a of -10 times 6 all over, which is -20. All right. And so now we got to do a little bit of math here. All right. So -4 times -10 times 6 is -240 plus 25, or positive 240 plus 25 is 265. So now I have 5 plus or minus square root of 265 all over negative 20. All right. So now, how many answers did we actually get? We actually got 2. So now we have 5 plus square root 265 over 265 over negative 20, comma 0. And 5 minus square root 265 over negative 20, comma 0. And what was my other 0? 2, comma 0. All right. Now, technically, this is a correct answer. It's correct. However, it's kind of like bad etiquette. All right. So we actually should not have a negative on the bottom. So distribute your negative throughout. And that's what you're actually going to see on like Calc Chat or any other thing. All right. So now we're into complex conjugates. All right. What does it mean to be complex again? A real and an imaginary. Okay. And so we need to read this. I'm going to have David read it for us. Go.
Find a fourth degree polynomial.
No. Let F.
Let f of x be a polynomial function that has real coefficients if a plus bi, where b does not equal 0, is a zero function. The conjugate a minus bi is also a zero of the function.
All right, fantastic. So if I have 4 minus 3i, comma 0 as a 0, what's its buddy? What's also a 0? 4 minus 3i, comma 0 is a 0. 4 plus 3i, comma 0 is also a 0. They always work in conjugate pairs. You can't have one without the other. All right? They are always together. Okay? All right? It's kind of... All right, so now I need to find this fourth degree polynomial that has zeros of -1, -1, and 3i as a 0. How many zeros were actually given to me? 3, kind of 3. However, we know another 0. If 3i is a 0, another 0 has got to be what? Negative 3i. All right? So we know that that's going to be it. So now I'm going to write my linear factors. So instead of -1 is a 0, that linear factor would be x plus 1, right? And then another factor would also be x plus 1. And then if negative or 3i is going to be a 0, then it would be x minus 3i. And then if negative 3i is also a 0, then I'd have x plus 3i. All right? And so now we just need to FOIL these things out. All right? And honestly, guys, work with the ones without i's and the ones with i's together. All right? It's going to make your life a little bit easier. So what does x plus 1 times x plus 1 give me? My first would be x squared plus 2x, and then plus 1. All right? And so then when I FOIL this x minus 3i and then x plus 3i together, remember that's a difference of squares. It's just the first and the last. Well, what's my first? X squared, right? And what's my last? Minus 9i squared. And we did this on Friday. What is I squared again? -1. So this is really x squared what? Plus 9. All right, and I am totally cool if you jump straight there. Remember going backwards on Friday? We went from x squared plus 9 to then x plus 3i, x minus 3i. Remember that? All right, so now we're just going the other way. So now I have a try with a by, and guess what? We're going to start distributing some junk. All right, so my first would be what? X to the fourth. My x squared times 9 is 9x squared. And then I need to distribute this 2x. So now I have 2x cubed. And then plus 18x. And then I need to distribute this 1. So now I have plus x squared and plus 9. And from there, I get to combine like terms. Do I have any buddies for x to the fourth? No, so he's just dropping. All right, do I have any buddies for my next higher power? No, I still have just 2x cubed. Do I have any buddies for x squared? Yes, what do they combine to? 10x squared. And then 18x, and then 9. And then we are finished. All right. Pretty cool. All right. The zeros of this fourth degree polynomial, given that 1 plus 3i is a 0. Okay, they give me 1 plus 3i is a 0. So what else do we know? We know that 1 minus 3i is also going to be a 0. All right. I am going to show you a foolproof way of doing this problem. Okay. However, I'm going to share that this is not the only way to Tampa. Is everybody hearing me? Okay. I am going to show you another method. Now, one of our methods that we've been doing before is, what do? We find our what? We find our P's and Q's, right? I already got 2 of them. I need to find how many more? I need to find 2 more. Are you following me? Okay, so I could go that way to Tampa. Is everybody hearing me? I'm not going to go that way to Tampa on this one. Okay, we've been doing that a few times now. All right, I'm going to show you a different way. So I'm actually going to write the linear factorization of this problem. So if I did this, if I have x plus 3i, that would be x minus the quantity 1 plus 3i. And then if I have 1 minus 3i, this would be x minus 1 minus 3i. Does everybody agree with what I just did? Okay, now I'm going to distribute the negative. So then I end up having x minus 1 minus 3i, and then I have x minus 1 plus 3i. See how we did that? Now, could you multiply a trinomial with a trinomial? Yes, you could. However, I'm going to regroup them. Okay, I'm going to regroup them as like the quantity of x minus 1 minus 3i and x minus 1 plus 3i. All right, did I change anything? No, I'm just manipulating the way I want it. All right, so this is now a difference of squares. Do you see how it's a difference of squares now? You see how that works? So now my first is x minus 1 quantity squared, right? And then I have negative 3i and positive 3i, and what does that give me? Negative 9i squared, which is really plus 9. All right. And now I'm going to FOIL this. I'm going to FOIL this x minus 1 squared. And so then I'd end up with x squared, and then what? Minus 2x and plus 1. And that plus 1 and the plus 9 are going to give me x squared minus 2x plus 10. So these 2 zeros gave me factors of x squared minus 2x plus 10. You see how we did that? Now I got to get the other 2 factors. All right, I got to get the other 2 zeros eventually. And I have this x to the 4th thing. Well, guess what we could do? We could take that and divide it into there. All right, and so we could actually use long division. All right. So we're actually going to long divide it. And when we long divide it, I'm going to go from a power of 4 to a power of what? I'm going to go to a power of 2. And then once I get the power of 2, I know a lot of things with quadratics. You following me? All right, so how do I get from x squared to x to the 4th? And x squared. So now I have x to the 4th minus 2x cubed, and then plus 10x squared. What would I suggest you do right here? Pew, pew, pew. All right. So then how many x cubes do I have? Negative x cubed. And then how many x squareds? Negative 4x squared. And then how many canceled? Just 1, so I'm just going to drop 1. All right. And then how do I get from x squared to negative x cubed? Negative x. So now I have a negative x cubed, and then plus 2x squared, and then minus 10x. What would I suggest you do right here? Pew, pew, pew. All right. And so now we're left with what? Negative 6x squared, and then plus 12x, and then minus 60. All right. So then how do I get from x squared to negative 6x squared? Negative 6. So now I have a negative 6x squared and positive 12x and minus 60. All right. What would I suggest you do? Pew, pew, pew. What happens? It all cancels. We get 0. Did we already knew that was going to happen? We already knew that was going to happen. They told us it was 0. We found factors, and well, obviously it's going to be a factor. So we're left with x squared minus x minus 6. And what can we do with that thing? We can f that up. What does that f up to? X minus 3, x plus 2. All right. And so now I have a 0 of what? 3 comma 0. This 0 is what? Negative 2 comma 0. And then don't forget about the ones that they've given to us. We also have 1 plus 3i comma 0 and 1 minus 3i comma 0. All right. Again, do you have to go that route? No. Okay. Could you find your P's and Q's and do it synthetically just like we've done before? Yes. However, if you have a large option of 60, it might take you a while to get the right one. Are you following me? So I'm giving you another way to Tampa. Do you have to go this way? You don't. All right. You can go the other way. It just depends on how lucky you get first. All right. No on 57. And instead of 63 through 73 odd, 63 through 69 odd.